Hi, this is Abby Wilson, and I will be talking about the Wilson Reading System. I am using the third edition, which was published in 2002 by the Wilson Language Training Corporation. But first, I want to speak about how the brain learns to read. And we know that reading is not a natural process. It is not something we are born with, so it's not an instinct. Our brain uses three different parts. It uses the visual processing located in the occipital lobe in the back of the brain. It uses our auditory processing part, which is in the temporal lobe, and then it also uses the frontal lobes where our working memory is stored. In order for students to be successful, there are many components that they need to know, such as phonemic awareness, phonics, phonological awareness, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, which all of those are very difficult and can be daunting for some students who do not have this thing called reading down easily. We also know that beginning readers tend to go through a few phases, 3 different phases to be exact, and they are seeing pictures. So when they look at a book, they look at how words are formed, how they're shaped, how they're tall and small, and readers tend to look at the pictures first before they go into the second phase, which is then using that decoding and encoding process of, looking at a grapheme and making a connection to the phoneme. Then the third phase is where the child sees the word automatically and they recognize it and they know what it is automatically. So there's little conscious thought that goes into that third phase. Lastly, all readers, including children with dyslexia, they all must make those same steps of seeing the letters first and building that phonemic awareness before they can move on to the next stage. So I would want to talk about the Wilson Reading System, which I have completed before. I was certified in the program a few years ago. What I love about the program is that it is multisensory, meaning not only do students visually see the words, but they can actually manipulate the words by picking up magnets which have letters on the magnets, so they can manipulate the sounds. There's a lot of rote rehearsal. There's a lot of repetition that is also multisensory. There's a structure, and that the Wilson Reading System has a certain scope and sequence that they follow. So every child, when they begin, they should all begin with the consonants. Then they should master those consonants before they move into those short vowels. They all master the short vowels before they move into the digraphs. And they build upon foundations, which is the phonemic awareness that I was speaking about before. Another way that this is multisensory is that it is kinesthetic. You have to move, you have to be able to tap the sounds and to be able to hear the individual sounds. So that is requiring all 3 parts of the brain to be working appropriately. And what I have found is that children with dyslexia or children with language impairments or that have reading difficulties, those parts of the brain might not be all working the way that they should. There might be a glitch in one of those lobes or in the working memory. The International Dyslexia Association also recognizes that the Wilson Reading System makes those links between the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic tactile pathways, so students are able to read and spell. They also recognize the fact that those pathways that are being created in the brain by this multisensory program enhances memory and learning of written language. So originally this program, the Wilson Reading System, was meant for adults with dyslexia, but they found that the program was so effective and that it's been research proven to help students that just struggle with reading. This program begins at grade 2 all the way up until adulthood, and there are other programs similar to it called Foundations, which is kind of like what the Wilson program calls as the Baby Wilson. And so to recap this, it is a wonderful program. Students need to be able to use this multisensory program to learn the phonemic awareness so they can make the pathways, so all the parts of the brain, the visual processing, the auditory processing, and the working memory can work together to build that foundation so students are able to begin to learn how to read and to fill in those gaps, because a lot of times what happens is students are older and they're still years behind of where they should be in reading. Excuse me. So thank you for listening to my audio tape, and I hope you learned some information about the Wilson Reading Program. Thanks. Bye.